My name is Annie Chopra, and I'm here on My Story as a Woman to share my story as a woman. Um, to start off, I would just like to mention how amazing of an initiative this is by Shubham Vadan to give a platform to women to speak about their experiences, their knowledge, their belief systems, to give each other a lift, to express, basically. And today I'm here to express. I'd like to start off by giving a brief about myself. My name, as I mentioned earlier, is Annie Chopra, and I'm 18 years old. At the age of 18, a lot of people think you're still a kid, because it's the legal age and it's the age you really start off your life. But I believe differently. I believe that age doesn't really define your maturity levels or how much you've been through. The only thing that defines anything is your experiences, because even as an 18-year-old, sometimes you could have lived a life full of struggles, full of different patterns, and it could have really taught you something even being young. So when you're a kid and someone tells you you're just a kid, your voice doesn't matter, don't let that get to you, because trust me, every voice matters. So, as a person, one of the hardest things for me is when people tell me to speak about myself, because there is so many things I'd like to speak about. Like my background. I'm third cultured. I've lived abroad basically all my life. I've been brought up internationally, but my roots are Indian. Very Indian. But that doesn't change who I am or what I believe in. All these different cultures and communities I've lived with between, like the Catholics and Christians and all these religions that I've learned about, Buddhism, Muslims, and everything, has really taught me to respect every individual, because everyone has their own belief systems. It has really created me. But one thing I found out in every place is that at times as women, we get left out. We suffer similar issues everywhere. It's not just Delhi, which has become a capital of gang rape. The news extends everywhere. You hear about a swimmer who raped a student and got let go. I mean, it's not just our country anymore. It's everywhere, and it's extending, and it's worsening, and it's terrible. I think there are just so many issues as women we face, and it's not feminism that I'm standing up for here, or saying that, oh my god, we need help. It's not that. I think as women we can stand up for ourselves, and that's the step I've taken. Over the years, I went through several different things. While you travel and when you live in different countries, you also have to go through everyone's different values, and I got bullied several times when I was a younger kid about really awkward things that size of my breasts, or shaving. Like, what? I got bullied about my color. I got bullied about my hair. It's really random things that people can really hit on you, and it hurts. I won't deny it. Bullying hurts. Feeling left out hurts. But that didn't stop me anywhere. When I got bullied, I think that was around back in grade 4, the first time, I chose to not allow that to make me different or make me weak. I chose that as an opportunity, and I grabbed it and I took it, and I said to myself that I'll make myself stand up for myself. I started taking part in competitions and every kind of thing that I could, and academics became life. And sooner or later, the bullying stopped, because it didn't matter anymore, because I knew I was better than what people said. But then I changed countries again, from Laos to Mexico City. And in Mexico City again, I faced the same levels of bullying. People had different values there. People believed that, they had a different standard of beauty. And that's everywhere in the world, and I don't blame them. I don't blame anyone for it. I blame ourselves, each one of us who believes in that standard of beauty, because beauty has no standards. And And why bully someone, you know? Why bully someone about how good they look or how, you know, how they carry themselves? It's kind of none of our business. But it happened. And again, I took on to myself to never listen. What this gave me, what all these bullying experiences gave me, was I learned how important it was to express myself, because I kept keeping it to myself. I didn't really speak about it to anyone. But you know who I did speak to it about? My pen, my pencil. I started writing. I think it was back in grade 6 when I started writing, and I write till now. It's been quite a few years, I think 7 or 8 years, and I'm still writing, and I hope to continue writing. Now, the bullying experience is done. Bullying really does scar you at times, but it's how you look at it, how you believe to put yourself front and out there. Because, see, I believe that anything we do, anything, it depends on our perspective. Because if we like to look at a situation with negativity, it will cause negativity in our lives. But I'm an optimistic person. I prefer looking at everything much more positively and, you know, really believing in myself. Because the only person that will always believe in yourself is you. So that's what I do. Now to continue. A few years back, I underwent a tragic incident, as some of you might say. I got sexually harassed in a public place with a lot of people around me, and I was numbed. I did not really know what to do. I was around 12 years old, and it was miserable. Let me tell you that. I mean, I didn't really know what was happening. I was trying to understand what was happening, because at the age of 12, do you really know what a person's doing? It was a stranger, and it was a terrible incident which I could not talk about for a long time. For over 7 months, I did not even allow people to come close to me. I closed myself. I was a super outgoing person who loved hugs, and this one incident snapped me out of reality, and it hurts. And I think about it, and it's not the best feeling to get touched in an awkward place by a person you don't know at an age that should really not be doing that to kids. But see, that's what I meant about age, not defining maturity levels. That incident taught me a lot. My bullying taught me a lot. I spoke about it after 7 months to a friend of mine who helped me get it out of my system. She helped me cry about it. She made me realize that it's not really my fault. I mean, I was a kid, and it really be my fault. I mean, can it really be my fault as a 12-year-old? Was I really, come to me? I don't think that can happen. And to all you women out there who are undergoing abuse, let me tell you something very important. It's not your fault. It really isn't. It's their nasty brains and how they work that we don't even know, because they just go on and they think it's okay to touch you when it's not. And I talked about it to friends, and at one point I stopped caring. But see, it didn't quite end there. I got harassed in India, and I really honestly used to think I'd never come back here, so it's quite easy to be like, I don't really care anymore. But life hits everyone pretty hard, doesn't it? And I came back here, and it was nasty because my brain was scared. I was scared. I was a 14-year-old, and I was like, I don't want to go to that place. It's creepy. But oh well, it's still pretty creepy to me, but that's just me. And see, fright does nothing but keeps us away. Today, as an 18-year-old, I can stand up for myself, and even if someone looks at me wrong, I'll stand there and I'll scream at their faces. I'll be like, go look at your sister or mother, and then look at me, and then tell me what you see in me that's not in them, okay? Because, you know, why are you staring at me? My life, my clothes, and, you know, get off me. But that didn't quite happen to the 14-year-old me. When I came to India, I underwent 2 years of depression, and it's terrible. You know, depression is not something which you want to go through, because it's nasty. It was different. Indian community was different, as I said. Some people had this idea that I was a slut because I was like a foreigner or something. 'Cause I was brought up outside, so I came here, and a lot of people thought I was a slut. I don't know how or why, but they did. And I'm sorry about the background noises. I can't really do much about it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of shit, you know. Like, someone's really telling you something, and you know they have this bias that yeah, she is, you know. Like confirmation bias, they'll just look at ways of putting me into that position where I look like a slut. Like, I'm not a slut. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know where they got that conception from, but it taught me that, you know, you can't really listen to people because people are gonna think what they think, they're gonna say what they say, and you can't listen to them because people are there to put you down. Which is terrible. Like, why are we people like this? But we are. You know, what can we do? So back to my depression. Obviously, the comments, the difference in community, at one point it got to me, and I don't want to live anymore. I was very suicidal for a long time, and it was hard to trust people, hard to be friends with people, hard to try and be happy. And time to time I would lose all motivation, and I wouldn't want to speak to anyone. But I wish there was some happy ending to this India story, but there really wasn't. It just kept hurting more and more, and my depression just grew stronger and stronger. Until one day I got the news that I could finally leave. And I mean, I don't think it's the country, it was probably just me. I believe that. I believe that it was just me because it was perspective. I kept seeing the negative things, I kept looking at the negative comments. I was still academically high. I used to still, wow, that sounded really wrong, but I was still academically very well built, and I was still in competitions, and I was still doing my best in every single situation, but negativity is something that doesn't quite go easily. If it catches up to you, it shadows upon you, and it's hard to break it apart. So when I finally left, I went to Africa, where a new story was bound for me. It was amazing. It was my first step to get out of depression, and I happily want to say that I did. See, sometimes you do need to get away, and you know, some people it might look like you're running away, but you really aren't. You're doing what's best for you, and sometimes getting away to a different place, to a different city, to different people, sometimes that's good for you. It was amazing for me. I went to Africa and I learned so much about myself, so much. I was an amazing dancer all my life. I loved dancing. I never really learned, but I love dancing. I can do hip hop, I can do contemporary, belly dance, you name it, I can do it. Dance was my way to express. Writing was my way to express. And I realized that I could really use these things and help others express. I got to Africa, I learned about, you know, the underprivileged there, and you know, girls in general, and I researched up a little more about dance. I knew dance had a lot of benefits in its own ways, but I really did learn a lot more. Dance helps promote growth, it helps promote flexibility, it helps balance out the emotional nature of a human being, the physical being. And for girls there that couldn't afford exercise or could not, you know, did not know what to do to keep a healthy body, because a lot of females in Africa don't really have that like outlook on life. They don't really know what to do. So I went up and I started teaching a few girls dance. And I started teaching them the culture behind the dance, you know, this dance comes from this place, and how, and you know, I really opened their eyes. Some of them were great dancers by themselves, and I learned so many new things. I learned so much about their culture and about the way they dance, and it was a beautiful experience, and I learned how amazing it is to express out and get expressed in. Teaching dance was one of the greatest things that has happened to me in my life. It really transformed me because I learned how to be a teacher, but I also learned how to learn from my students. And as for writing, I never really stopped writing. I still write. I publish stuff on Tumblr. I write a lot, so it's always there. Poetry and prose has always helped me get out of my wounds. But one thing I really learned is that in life, friends and family are very important. I believe that. I strongly believe that. My family I was not the closest to throughout all my childhood years, but now I'm very close to my sisters, very close to my mom. And that has a reason too. Everything has a reason, you know. But basically, Africa. Africa taught me the importance of friendship. I got amazing friends there who taught me to be myself, that I didn't have to be afraid anymore, that, you know, depression was just my outlook on life, and it was just really me, and not any external force. It was me. It was really me eating myself up, and my shadows just becoming my demons and my thoughts, and that ended, and I am so glad it did. But back in Africa, another tragedy occurred, and I lost my father. It was not the easiest thing for me. I mean, being a daddy's daughter kind of a thing, it was one of my hardest things, and it's the first time I'm really speaking about it on a platform so openly. But I lost my father, and I had responsibility, a lot of responsibility. I had my mom and my brother, and I had to take care of both of them. I had to help them deal with it, and I realized that a lot of people came to me and they said, you know, you don't have an older brother and stuff. And I said I have a younger brother who needs me. And I don't need to be an older brother to give that love and life. And losing my father taught me a lot of things. Made me stronger. Made me really strong. And I think losing a loved one can really impact your life in so many different ways. And it did. It did to me too. And today I'm here, back in India. It was a really wild ride, you know, thinking again about so many different things, you know, about the lifestyle. I was scared about coming back, but I realized that nothing could change me now, because a positive outlook on life is necessary, and it transformed me to so many levels, because I became a happier person, and I didn't need anyone to prove that to me. Grieving is important, is another thing. When we lose someone we love, we should grieve. We should give ourselves time to grieve. I write and I talk to him in my own time, and it helps me grow. See, sometimes life will really throw stones at you and you can't really hide. What you need to do is hold the stones or cure yourself from the wounds. And so you need to cure yourself from the wounds, and it will be hard, but it's not impossible. I did. And I'm here today, and it really pushed me. Everything that I've been through pushed me towards catching heights. And I started off my own website, which started off with my story about harassment. I started talking to a lot of people, and I realized that every country, everywhere, there are people undergoing depression and they don't even know what depression is. Let's take India for instance. A lot of people in India think depression is in the brain, but it's not. Let me put it straight out there. It's not in the brain. You know, depression happens, and it's very real, and it's very important to counteract that, and, you know, keep positivity in, and tell your family about it, and tell your friends about it, and get out of that system which gives pain and utter disgrace to you and yourself, because, you know, it really does put you in this hole of darkness, which is really hard to escape. So I started Catching Lights, a platform where I want to educate, empower, and inspire people to talk about, you know, bullying and depression and harassment. It's a platform for all. I talked to a lot of people, and I got to know about so many different kids who have been through bullying, so many different girls who have gone through harassment, even a few guys actually. So, you know, all this speaking to different people about their lives, it helped me appreciate mine more, because, you know, you'll learn that everybody has to face their own battles. Some might seem small in front of my eyes, but they might be really, really big for someone else. And that's what life has generally taught me. That express and let express. Let people come to you and talk to you about their problems, and let yourself talk about your problems, because the only way to find solutions to problems is by talking about them. Life has taught me the things hard ways, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I appreciate it. I appreciate every struggle, every moment of my life. And it might be hard to keep up to, school and internships and family and friends and a website as an 18-year-old. And I'll just go back to the first thing I said. Being young or being old does not define you or your experiences or your maturity level. You define it. If you have dreams at the age of 12, go follow them, girl. Go do that stuff. Because I don't think age should really stop you. Nothing should stop you, not your gender, not your age. As a woman, I believe that yes, there are men who are always trying to put us down, but you know what's worse? That there's women putting us down, and I think it's best to be optimistic about life and to really trust yourself, trust your dreams, and go for it. Because nothing can define you better than yourself. And I think you should keep expressing yourself. I think you should keep expressing yourself, loving yourself, and spreading love. I hope one day I hear from people from who watched my video, who told me about their stories, and because I love listening to stories. Every life has its own story. Every person has their own story. As women, sometimes we have a few more stories to tell. Painful stories which might be really hard to get out of our systems. But we talk about them because as women, we're strong. And you know what? We're stronger together. So I'd like to thank my story as a woman for giving me this opportunity to talk about my life and showcase the importance of expression. Because as a human being, I think giving platforms to people to speak about themselves is the greater good. It's for the greater good. And it's magical. And it really helps let go of so many things. I hope my voice is heard by several, and those several make their voices be heard too. So thank you, my story as a woman, for having me today to speak about my life. And let me repeat once more my whole ideals. Follow your dreams, follow yourself, don't let anyone put you down, because you are the best definition of you. Age, number, and gender is nothing that should stop you. I don't think there's anything that should stop you. You are powerful, you are amazing, and you can be everything you want to be, no matter what. I'm on my pathway with Catching Heights, trying to get a community of people who want to talk about issues together. And I'm sure one day it will reach higher. I'll have an NGO maybe. It's about keeping on dreaming and believing in yourself, really. Who knows? We'll all catch heights. Thank you so much for listening to me, and goodbye.